And now, from the Blind Abilities podcasting empire, also known as BAPE, we bring you Brian Fischler, host of That Blind Tech Show, giving us a demo on white noise, a machine that'll drown out noises you don't want to hear. And no, it won't drown out Brian. We tried it. So, without further ado, here's Brian Fischler.
Welcome to a That Blind Tech Show special demo by Brian. Now, if you're like me, and hopefully you're not, because if you listen to That Blind Tech Show, you know that I have some issues. But not all my issues can be blamed on me. In the blindness community, a lot of us have issues with sound because we're so in tune to it. And for years, I've had a lot of issues with loud planes flying over an apartment. If you live in a city, traffic might bother you. You could have a noisy neighbor, which is the situation that I'm in right now. And I do live in an older building here in New York. As you know, we've been here for quite a while in New York City. And you can hear footsteps of the people above me, which sometimes would wake me up at night. Recently, I discovered a fantastic product that I wanted to share with the rest of you out there, that if you have trouble sleeping or you are bothered, whether it, like I said, is by plane noise from where you live, train noise, any kind of noise whatsoever, I think you're really going to love this device. A company called Adaptive Sound Technologies out of San Jose. They were founded by some people that work in the music industry, got together and decided where they were living in San Jose, they lived fairly close to the airport, and they were wondering, I wonder if we could use our music abilities and sound to do anything to drain out that plane noise, because we kind of like where we live, and it is a pain in the ass to move, especially when you're blind. It's even more of a pain in the butt to move. So I'm living in an apartment where I really like right now, and I love the neighborhood. I've been living in this neighborhood 5-6 years, in this apartment for 1 year, and I just did not want to move again. So I discovered on Amazon a device here called the Sound+Sleep machine, high fidelity with nature sounds and white noise. And we'll put a link in the show notes. This product sells on Amazon here in the United States for about $75. What it is it's probably, if any of you have a Sonos speaker, it's probably about the size of a Sonos speaker, a little smaller. It's definitely shorter than a Sonos speaker. It has a speaker on the top. The front panel has a bunch of buttons, which we'll go through thanks to the good people at Ira. I know what these buttons are, and there's also a dial, which we'll get into on it. The device plugs in via AC power. You have an AC adapter that plugs in on the bottom. And I'm told that there might be a speaker, although I can't really feel it on the bottom, that there might be a speaker on the bottom. It seems to me that most of the noise, and it's good noise, comes out of the top. On your right-hand side on the device, you do have a audio jack that you can plug headphones into, although I don't think you'd want to plug headphones into this, or you can hook this device up to louder speakers, but I don't think you'll need them because this device does get pretty loud, as I will example. Now, on the front panel, you have a top row of 3 buttons. They're all very accessible once you know what they are. Starting from left to right, your top button is power. Then you have a display button, because I am told, I guess the device does have some lights that you could toggle on and off. And then you have your volume up button. Then you have a second row with only 2 buttons. The first button is your timer, and it's one of those buttons where, depending on how many times you press it, you have a sleep timer option for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90, or 120. You press it once for 30, twice for 60, you get where I'm going with this. Then the right button is your volume down, and those are your main buttons. You then have a dial, which we're going to get into, and then on the bottom, you have 2 buttons, and I was like, oh, I'm never going to use those. Ends up, they're quite important buttons. And these buttons, depending on which level you have on, do have some lights. The first button is called adaptive, and what this button does is when pressed, and you really won't have to know if the light's on because you can't tell. The adaptive button, when off, your white noise or nature sound just plays at the level you've set the volume to. When you do press this button, and this is a really cool feature, what it does is that lowers the device, but when the device, because it has microphones, I guess, on the external side, picks up any noise, it hikes up the volume to drown out that noise, kind of like your AirPod Pros would do with their microphones on the outside. Then your last button on the right is your richness button. And what this does is, when we get into it, you'll see more what it does. It basically offers you different versions of whatever soundscape you've set. I'm going to go ahead and turn the device on. I have my dial, which is very accessible. It does have a bump on it, so you can feel set to about 1155, and that's where we're going to start. That's a train sound. So these are real sounds. If you've ever used any kind of white noise on your Echo device, those are not real sounds. This company, when we get into things, I spoke with the company. They're a small company out of San Jose, California. They had friends in Hawaii record the ocean waves, which is really cool because they sound fantastic. For their rainstorm, they had friends in Boston record the thunder, because I guess Boston has better thunder than us here in New York City or people out in California. But they really went all around and did a fantastic job. And the great thing about this device, like I said, this is their top-end model. It retails currently for $75 on Amazon. The great thing about this model is, with a lot of these white noise machines, one thing that I read in a lot of the reviews was the sound just kept looping over and over. Well, this one doesn't loop. It constantly is mixing itself up, and you can have this thing play all night, which I've done. I've started sleeping a lot better. It really drowns out the sound of the footsteps above me or anything. And the guy that lives above me is the nice guy. It's the neighbors directly to my right that are not the nice people. But I'm going to go ahead and turn the device on. And I'm going to make it a little louder. Just pressing the up button. This is your train sound. As you can hear, this gets pretty loud. Press this richness button. I haven't played around with the train sound as much. The next one, I believe, is City. Press the richness button, see if it changes any. I believe this one does change a little. I've played around with this one a little, and you'll hear, depending on your richness level, some car doors slamming. I wasn't a huge fan. If I want to hear in New York City noise, I just have to open my window. So now I'm going to turn the dial to the next one. Here's where we start getting into the good ones. This is your rainfall. So no thunder yet. I'm going to go ahead and press the richness button. See if we can get a thunderclap going here. Lowering the device. As you heard, I was pressing the richness button, and this one now introduced some thunder into our soundscape. Really cool, as I do like some thunder if I'm going to fall asleep. I like this one. I mean, it really drowns everything out. Going to turn to the next one. I think the next one may be Brook. And some of these soundscapes are louder than the other ones, so depending on the noise you're dealing with or trying to drown out, you're going to have to just play around with it and see which works best with you. This one's Brook. I haven't really played around with it too much. Just press the richness button, seeing if there's any difference. And I don't know about you, but I kind of heard some noise in the background, like, not frogs, but just that noise you hear at a brook. I'm not an outside person. So, there we go. Hopefully I wasn't talking over that, but it sounded like some chirping or whatever. I'm not a brook person. I think the next one is meditation. There was something. There's weird creatures in here. There you go. Nice to have. I'm not a meditator because I'm too high-strung and drink too much caffeine, but maybe I'll give this a shot, you know? Wonder if the richness does anything here. Yep, sounds the same to me. That's really going to drain anything out. I have this on my nightstand. Going to go to the next white noise. Getting ready to get to my favorite one, though, which is Ocean. This is the one they recorded in Hawaii. It's either meadow or waterfall. And then we're back. The dial circles all the way around. Turn the device off. So you've got 10 soundscapes, but with the richness features, it will give you about 30 potential possibilities. Like I said, some of them sound the same. There's a little difference here or there. You'll probably have one or two that you fall in love with. I've got like 4 or 5 actually that I really enjoy. I love the ocean. I've been sleeping in that every night. I've had sleep issues for years. It's like I forgot how to fall asleep and sleep through the night. And since I've been using this for a week, I've slept really good and I haven't heard any noise. It really does a good job of knocking everything out. Now, some of you might say, well, how am I going to use this device and listen to TV? What I have found, if you play her at a lower level, it will knock some of the noise out. You'll still be able to hear your TV. You definitely want to make sure you have that adaptive mode turned off, because the louder the sounds on the TV get, then the louder the device will get. But you can use this device with some TV on. Now, I thought you were supposed to put this device where the noise was coming from. People were mixed on the reviews on Amazon, but after I spoke with the company, they're a fantastic company, Adaptive Sound Technologies. They'll pick up the phone if you call them. Their number's on the Amazon questions section on the Amazon product page. I got the gentleman on the phone that's real involved with the company, and he says, we want to hear from people. If you have any questions, you have any problems, you call us right up. Somebody will almost always answer the phone. You got to call during business hours. That's 9 to 5 Pacific Coast time. But I had a great conversation with them and let them know, hey, this is something that could be great for the blindness community, as we are sound sensitive and everything. So this is their main model. As I mentioned, it retails for about $75 on Amazon. Now, they do have a cheaper model, which I have as well. And the advantage of this cheaper model, which I believe retails for about $45, it's a lot smaller. So this device is kind of octangular. You only have 3 buttons on this device. This device, all it has is white noise, but it has a bunch of different settings. Just going to demo it for you here for a little. You can even travel with this one. The advantage of this one also, while it does come with your typical AC adapter, it has a USB plug that plugs into the AC adapter. So right now, I have an end table with some USB slots. This device I have just plugged into the USB slot, and it works perfect. You have just 3 buttons on this one. You have a power button, and I believe this also works as a timer. I haven't figured that part out. Then you have your volume up and a volume down to the right of it. And then you have your sounds, just 1 button for sounds where you could hit right or left and go through the sound. So I'm going to power this device on. And I'm just going to go through some of the white noises for you to hear. And I think that might tell you you're back to the beginning, that little sound, because that's the second time I've heard it. So you have 2 options from Adaptive Sound Technology. I would recommend either device, depending on your situation, what you need it for. You might prefer the nature sounds. If you're looking just to kill some noise, you're in an apartment like I am, this smaller version might be good for you. But big fan of the company, big fan of the products. Highly recommend either device. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the company. We will go ahead and include the phone number to Adaptive Sound Technologies out of San Jose, California, in the show notes, and if you have any further questions, you can go ahead and give them a call. That is it for now, and I guess I am out and sleeping better.
Such a great demo, such a great device, and it's working well for Brian. And the phone number for Adaptive Sound Technologies is 408-377-3411. Once again, 408-377-3411. And be sure to follow That Blind Tech Show on Twitter at Blind Tech Show. And keep up with the latest from That Blind Tech Show on the Facebook group That Blind Tech Show. And you can also find the Blind Abilities Community group on Facebook, as well as the Assistive Technology community for the blind and visually impaired. Some great resources on Facebook and on Twitter. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed. And until next time, bye-bye.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
Blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.